What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are with Joe, who owns this really sweet 1963 Fairlane. The thing is NASCAR inspired, as you can see, and it's a real driver. He doesn't just take it to shows, he rips in this thing. Alrighty guys, so this is Joe. Joe, I'm actually super pumped because I haven't done a Ford in a while. And so I've been doing a lot of Chevys. I'm like, man, we got to get a Ford on here. So I'm super stoked about this. Tell me a little bit about the car here. What inspired you to build this?
Oh, the inspiration was ever since I was a little kid, I would see old abandoned race cars out in the field of upstate New York where I used to live. And I always wanted one just to drive. And years and years later, I was at a car show and I ran into a guy and we got talking and he said he used to race cars in the 70s. And I said, you don't happen to have an old race car I could get from you and modify to put on the street? He says to me, I'll build you one. And that was how it started. So he was a Ford guy, lucky me. My mom used to have a Fairlane 500, which is what this car started as, not my mom's. It was a 260 automatic car, plain Jane, and he had bought it from somebody in Alabama. It was under a pole barn. But that conversation is what started it off because he used to build his own race cars back in the 70s, and he was retired and bored and offered to fab me up almost real race car.
I mean, it looks like you could just take it to the track right this second.
It's actually built pretty much like it would have been back in the day. We cheated here and there just to make it drivable, but it's, you know, it's just horrible to drive because it's all manual. There's no power or anything, and it's loud.
What's funny is you're saying it's really hard to drive. I can't imagine a younger kid now like trying to drive this thing. I don't think their brain could even comprehend. You got to be a man to drive something like this. You really do.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I call a visceral experience. You know, it's noisy. You smell the exhaust. You got to drive it. It's not going to go down the road by itself, and you know how fast you're going by how much noise it's making.
Yeah.
But
that's the
whole fun of it.
Exactly. I was about to say that. That's
it.
what is awesome about just hot rods in general. Is like that's what you want. You know, you want to smell that. You want to feel the car. It's a different experience.
I don't name cars, but I will tell people it's a little monster.
Well, speaking of monster, let's go ahead and pop the hood and we can talk about the motor in there. Thank goodness you got a Ford motor.
Yep, you can't do a Ford without a Ford. This is an actual 289. Everybody accuses me of having strokers and stuff. It's not. It's really what it says on my badge. This is a 289 block. I believe it came out of a 67 Galaxy. It's been completely rebuilt by R&R Speed Shop in Huntsville. Got Edelbrock heads on it, Edelbrock intake, Holley 4150 double pumper, and a whole bunch of cam from Comp Cams. The whole valve train is Comp Cam match parts. They ran it on the dyno when it was first built, but we didn't run it in this configuration. I think it was something like 360 back then, and then we've got it all dialed in now, so it's a bunch more, I can tell you from driving it, but I'm not gonna lie about it, I don't really know. I think it's in the 470 range.
That's pretty good though. And
for a 289, it's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. I love that you can see the chassis in here as well, and there's just no fenders. I just love how raw it looks.
Well, it works great for working on it because you can get to everything. In fact, I can stand in the car.
Wow.
When I was swapping intakes, I could just stand there. The bad part is, if I get caught in the rain goes on everything. So, it is what it is.
What transmission do you have running in this?
This car is an old school build. This is a Ford top loader, the strongest transmission, the strongest factory transmission, right, ever manufactured is the Ford top loader. So it's 4-speed, no overdrive, no 5 speeds, nothing fancy. The rear axle, I'm still running an 8-inch. Though I'm probably going to have to switch to a 9 with a true track and 355 gears in it. Sorry guys, we're not doing burnouts with this car. This still runs the stock 60-some-year-old tapered, I think they're 28 spline axles. We would snap axles immediately.
Sheesh. Let's talk about the sound of this thing, because you can't have a NASCAR-inspired car without the sound. What is the exhaust that you have running on here? Because it's just like a chef's kiss. I love it.
So what it has is just the homemade, I think they're 8-inch resonators, just straight through resonators just to knock the edge off of it. And it's just an old style NASCAR dual outlet, both sides. with a crossover tube.
It looked like when I looked under the car, maybe cherry bombs or something like that?
Yeah, they're cherry bombs. I can't remember what brand they were, but they're like the color of cherry bombs. And
yeah, for sure.
I remember we were like, oh, we got to show off the red resonators.
Yeah, totally. I actually did a video of a Mach 1 and he had some cherry bombs on it. With the small block Fords, they just sound so good. I feel like those pair so well.
If you like a loud engine, a Ford small block is the best sounding engine ever. I mean, I'm sorry.
I agree.
I'm biased.
No, I agree. Moving on to the exterior, man, I just love the way cars like this look. Tell me a little bit about the finish. Did it look like this when you had got it? I know maybe the decals weren't on there, but tell me a little bit about that.
It was actually that color. And essentially, all we did was took more paint off than we put on. We didn't really put any on. This rust, this is how it was. This obviously is painted. We did that. That's a Kenny Campbell piece of artwork. As far as the finish goes, I basically wanted it to look like we found an old race car in a barn, even though it's a fabrication. So we didn't really do very much with it. What I did do is, when I tried to put decals on it, it wouldn't stick because it was just, primary. And so what I ended up doing was I sprayed the whole car with Permatex rust treatment, just spray can, just to freeze the rust. And then I ended up doing the whole car in Krylon flat clear spray can just to coat it. And that allowed me to stick what started out as beautiful, brand new, shiny, clear decals. Then I had to figure out how to make them look old. And I tried, anything I could think of until I finally found some kid online that he was building models, and he was saying that how he aged his little decals was with dark walnut wood stain.
Wow.
And I happened to have a can, so I dipped a paper towel in it and I just started slapping it on. I didn't even try to be neat about it. And then when I got done, it was like the perfect look because it looks like used motor oil, especially like right here. I mean, you can tell. And then it won't dry because it's oil stained, so I took the flat clear Krylon again and just went psh, and that's what it is. To get the rock chips, I took a brand new decal, and I'm low tech, I'm telling you, I do it yourself low tech. Stapled a piece of rough sandpaper to it, a little 2x4, and just laid the decal on the ground still mounted, put some dirt underneath it to give it a texture, and just went like that with the sandpaper.
Wow.
And that made all the rock chips. And then anytime it started peeling off, like right here, I would just pull it off, and it just adds character.
That's so funny. It's
I'm not an artist, but it just, it worked out for me.
That's cool, because even stuff like that, just little details that people, when they look at your car, they don't think about that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really cool that you did put so much effort into even something like the decals and the stickers.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to fool anybody. It's a creation.
Yeah, totally.
It's built to take you back in the day.
As far as the wheels and tire setup, obviously you had to go with something like this. It just fits the car so perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the size, the wheels, and what you got going on there.
28, 12, 15. Tires on 15-inch, 10-inch wide rims. They're DOT rims. We basically built the car around the wheel and tire combination.
Really? Okay.
If you use any kind of other tread, it makes it look like a dirt car. And basically the car was set up on, we had like a flat table. I don't even want to call it a chassis. It's homemade chassis table. And we set the car on that and then built the car around that. And all the fenders are cut and rolled properly.
And then what about the suspension setup that you have going on here?
Well, this is where we cheated a little bit. The front is actually a Speedway Motors Mustang 2 double A-arm coil spring separate shock kit. So it runs a Mustang 2 rack and pinion, which is a godsend for anybody that used to build cars back before the Mustang 2. That gives you the disc brakes, that gives you rack and pinion steering.
What about the rear? Is it still on the leaf springs? Or
the rear is very interesting. The rear is the stock Fairlane leaf springs, a good set. 2 leaves removed. We used poly bushings to keep it from going side to side. And so that's what locates the rear end. Then we went back to the old days, and instead of using slapper bars or Caltrax, back in the day they would take a truck spring, a thick truck spring, and cut a chunk out of it.
Okay.
And then they would mount it on top and in front of the axle housing on top of the leaf spring to keep it from wheel hopping. So what I did is I actually, instead of doing the actual truck spring, I found a helper spring for a Toyota pickup or something. and the measurements were perfect. So I just bought a set for like 20 bucks.
Wow.
So basically what you're looking at in here is, you know, instead of door bars, we have X bars so we can get in and out of it. This is more of a road course type opening door setup, so I can get in and out because I'm old. It's all fabricated firewall. The firewall is moved back 6 inches, so there's no ventilation from the cowl vents. You know, it's comfortable for an hour and 45 minutes, and then at 2 hours, it's horribly uncomfortable. There's just a line that you cross. This whole car to build was less than $15,000.
Wow.
This is do it yourself and have a couple of friends that are basically donating their time.
Totally.
This is, you know, lucky me is all I can say about that. The seats are, you know, Speedway motors, inexpensive. I think they call them a sportsman seat. A lot of Speedway stuff on this. Speedway motors, God bless them. You can get all the steering stuff. The gauges are autometer gauges, sport comps, nice and economical. I've never had a problem with them. I don't run anything else besides them. Love them. This is the stock dash in here. And then this is just, you know, the box that he fabricates. That's race car.
I love it. It's just so bare bones, but I mean, this is all you need for a car like this. So I say we get a camera in here and we go for a cruise, and I want to ride in this thing, man. It's awesome.
I haven't attracted, not one single police officer has ever pulled me over in this car in 9.5 years. So maybe we can change that today.
Yeah, let's see.
Exceeded the speed limit. It's legit.
Oh yeah, I love it.
It drives just like a regular, like old Ford Mustang.
That's awesome.
You know, just a lot more power.
And you drive this a lot too, right? I mean, you're about to be at, you said you're 99th caffeine and octane.
99th in a row
That's
tomorrow.
Crazy, man.
See, but that's the kind of reaction it gets.
Yeah, I'm sure you get a ton of people just staring at this thing.
I have to drive up the interstate in the right-hand lane so that I don't get both sides where they start converging on me.
Yeah. I love the sound of this thing. This, and how long did it take for you to build it completely, like finished?
This car was built in 1,200 hours over 9 months.
Wow.
We didn't play around.
Wow.
I've had it 9.5 years now since it got
really?
done.
Holy moly, that's awesome, dude.
And I drive it all the time.
That's great. It's cool that you have kept it for so long, because sometimes, you know, people build stuff and they have it less than a year and get rid of it, you know?
Nope. This is my car.
Yeah, that's great, dude.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, it'll go.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you doing this, man. This is really, really cool.
What are you talking about? This is more fun than I have in a month.
All right, guys, that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to stay tuned because we do have a couple more cars that we're doing here in Georgia, and they're pretty awesome. So definitely keep your eye out. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.